Hello Hero, it's Lucy Lannon. I hope that the mic quality is decent today. After the last two uploads being a bit clippy, I decided I'd get a new clip-on one, but that means that I'm slightly closer to you than I'd like to be, and at a slightly different time as well, so please bear with. But we're going to do your friends and family reading. I'm sure you've seen the subject line, and if it seems like it's for you, it'll be for you. That said, I am reading for a very large amount of people. Hopefully in the end, fingers crossed, please subscribe. So, yeah, just take what resonates and stuff the rest, to be quite honest. It's not for you, it's fine. What else do I want to say? Shop is back open from the 22nd of October. I am doing Utopia and doing a video every day, so if you're new to me and you enjoy this, please do subscribe, or hit like or share or whatever. Any more housekeeping? Oh, I changed my hair. Let me know if you like it. I'm a toxic bitch. Right, oh, speaking of, sorry, I should have looked at the camera when I said that. I was making sure I didn't fall over. If I'm ever looking here instead of here, can you see the difference? That's me sort of like, oh God, is my chair gonna go? Because I really didn't expect this. Okay, so, in the zone. You ready? We're ready. Seven of Pentacles to begin with. I'm just going to chuck them down there because, yeah, you can't see. You don't care. Why am I so nervous? We've got a Fool. And I want to take this top dude, who is a Page of Pentacles. I have shuffled for reversals, but none are coming up so far. So, what are we saying? You don't know whether to take a risk making some kind of offer to somebody. This is not a love reading, this is friends and family spirit. And I don't mean one of those kind of friends. Death. Don't worry, don't panic, it's fine. It's Halloween, it's fine. Queen of Cups. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so hyper. That might actually be picking up on the energy of somebody present, because I'm not normally this kind of nervous and hyper and all over the place. A blue tit has just landed on my balcony. What a wonder. Sorry. That was truly magical. I wish you could see, but I'd have to set up all over again. Right, so it's like there's an offer, but the offer is, can we finish this? And that seems to not be a very good thing. Apologies for the squeaky chair, by the way. I promise you I'm not farting every time I move. With the Queen of Cups, somebody's feeling emotional about something, and your response is just to be like, well, should we end it then? It's sort of, ooh, now. Tell you what it might be. There's a vibe here of, you've had to have communication several times over with somebody, possibly about the same thing, not really sure. And in doing so, the other person, I think it's the other, because we wouldn't be talking if it was you on the same kind of wavelength, but somebody else, any gender, but Queen of Cups, is getting very emotional about whatever this repeated discussion is that you've had to be having. And I think your response actually has been to say, well, on reflection, should we maybe not fucking talk at all? Sorry for the language, but you are on the wrong channel if you think that I can't express myself whilst using profanity. So why is this an offer? Split the deck. Split the deck! Shut the front door. It's an Ace of Wands. Why am I in this mode of like, if you're in the UK, I feel like one of those sort of, oh, what's that guy's name? The game show guy, no likey, no lighty, that kid. I feel like that. I've got this like nervous, bombastic, loud ass energy that I don't normally have. And it's either coming from you or from somebody involved in this. Or this is someone you watch like cheesy game shows with. And that can apply wherever you are in the world, because I know many of you aren't in the UK. Shout out below as to where you are, I'd love to know. I haven't got enough data for that yet, so telling me directly is wicked. Why an Ace of Wands? I'm sorry guys, we'll get to the bottom of this. I'm not normally this confused by stuff, but there's a lot of things coming at me here that seem to be in very different tones, and I think that's actually reflective of the situation. Maybe it's not just you and this person, maybe there's an entire group of people that have to enter into discussions again and again. I'm thinking family more than friends, because this seems like a forced situation. If it's not a family, it's some kind of club or study group or something you kind of have to be in. But there's some vibe here of people getting together with very different opinions on how something should be handled, and you're going round and round and round the same stuff. And you've come in recently, I think, or you're about to say, guess what, guys, I'm going to make you an offer. How about we just don't do this at all? How about we go our separate ways? So if this is project work, I think your suggestion would be that everybody just does their own thing, and stops even trying to cooperate, which is a shame, but I'm with you there. And if this is a family thing, it's more just like, well, we don't have to have family time. I think in that sense, your definition of family might be different to the definition of your family or your chosen family or whoever these people are that you're around, in the sense that they might be more traditionalist about getting together a certain number of times or on certain occasions, or we have to do this often and we have to all be together, and if we're not all together then we suck as a unit. You know, that kind of mentality that's a little bit boomer. And I think you're more new school, whatever your age is, in the sense that you think that if it's not working, you don't really know why you're going to have to keep coming back and gathering together again and again. With the Ace of Wands, there's a suggestion there's something creative going on here, or that you guys are collaborating on something that you need to do. And if it's not that, and if it is the family thing, I'm seeing this as like, what was the phrase? It's like spare the rod, spoil the child, or something like that, but it's this sort of really antiquated, horrible corporal punishment type phrase that we had in the UK. And it makes me think of a head of a family that's extremely traditionalist and very punitive in their value system, and a rest of the family who don't necessarily agree with that, who kind of come together in ways that are very, you know, that some of you may have to drive a long way, some of you may have to sacrifice time with your chosen family. It's this very sort of chaotic assortment of people that have to be in one place because of this key figure. And I think you're just fucking sick of it. Maybe you're not seeing this when it goes out. Maybe this is like a Thanksgiving thing or a Christmas thing, because it's giving me that vibe of everybody getting together on the principle that you all get on and family values, or we've been friends for so long, we absolutely should hang out every, you know, however many years. But instead of it being this wonderful, enriching, mutual, hobgaddling kind of experience when you do meet up every so often, you're having a time where it's a bit Royal Tenenbaums, or a bit sort of, well, it's even more chaotic than that, really. It's a bit Texas Chainsaw. And that's making me think of my own family and my grandma, who we used to call Texas Chain Snore, for obvious reasons. And this idea that there's somebody very vigilant and dominantly caring at the head of the table, you know? That sort of, they love you, but they'll love you really hard, and they'll sort of suffocate you in a way with the strictures of it. That's the vibe I'm getting. I haven't even looked at this card. You see how long I've been waving it around? I don't even know what it is. Let's have a look. Yeah, 9 of Pentacles. So there's a good chance this is a matriarch, or somebody who's been on their own for a long time, is stood in good stead, you know, maybe somebody who's quite sort of happy in their current state. I'm getting the vibe of like a grandparent who's an only one because their partner has done what grandparents do and sadly passed away, or like somebody who's been sort of left, somebody who may have been a duo or may have been a different friendship group if this isn't a family reading for you, but they've been sort of left on their own, and in that position of being on their own, they've become more and more fixed in what they believe to be crucially important, in that way that, you know, speak from experience, can only happen when you're on your own for years at a time. And you're sort of going over the same stuff, and you become more and more sure of your position until the imposition of the outside world, you know. And I think that you guys, you included, represent that imposition of the outside upon this, I want to say matriarchal figure, but it could be a patriarch, but just this person who has had such a repeat cycle of doing things by themselves and having to be responsible for themselves, that they are now very set in their ways, and they are absolutely sure that this is how you should bond. But because they're so fixed in it, it's like nobody's bonding, nobody's enjoying this. And if this is a creative endeavour, nobody's being creative, nobody's, even if it's one of those like family must be at table and we must all talk about our day type things, it's like nobody's chatting because the vibe's just off. So your thing has been that you either are about to, or you have kind of cracked and said, how's about this? Nah, I'm going. This is stupid. I don't know why we still do it, you know? This may even for some of you be that you're in a couple, because we were getting the vibe of the love reading straight off. And that like the other person in this partnership wants to pursue those family values, and you're like, we're not a family. We're not even a couple right now. Don't make us fake this. You know, we're not doing it for the kids if the kids are getting an impression of something really negative every time we all assemble. I mean, that sort of extrapolates to the wider circumstance, doesn't it? It's like, this isn't for the benefit of the family if every time the family get together, all that happens is stress and arguments. And I think this is kind of your point. I'm just explaining it to you as confirmation, so hit me up down below if I'm right. But it's this, it's almost like every time you get together, the person who wants the most to be able to control the dynamic of you guys as a unit reiterates what that unit means for them, almost in the vague hope that that will always be the case for you all. But of course you can't control another person, even if you do so in a kind of tough love way, or even if you do so in, you know, repeat exposure of that person to other people that they could be very close to. I think actually it's having the opposite effect, and you've noticed. But it's a shame for them, and I feel for them in a way, because they're trying to bring you guys together, and in doing so, they're showing themselves up a bit, and they're sort of pushing you apart. Heartbreak, right? And this isn't just romantic, this is kind of, it ain't working. Ace of Swords. Some kind of truth that would help with this, and I don't think it's your suggestion of the Death card. I think it's like, there's a tension that needs to come out. Is there like a family, ooh, is there a family secret, guys? This is very dynasty. I'm enjoying that. Let me know down below. Well, I suppose you're not going to let me know what your family secret is, are you? But you know, let me know that it was that, and then I can get secretly excited by myself and maybe read up on it in a highly unethical way. But there is that vibe of like, there's something around the table that's not being said, and it doesn't have to be a table. This could just as easily, for you practitioners, because we began with the magician sort of when I was flip shuffling, this could be a magical group, you know, a lodge or a coven or whatever, and it's like increasingly not working, but there's something that you guys have got to discuss that you haven't yet. The world. I'm going to bear with that and pick a couple more. How? Seven of Swords. There's definite defensiveness amongst all of you. That's a bit worrying. Six of Cups. I'm not going to say all of the interpretations of that card, but if it is a family dynamic and we're talking secrets, my joke earlier may have been highly inappropriate for some of you, and if that's you, I apologise, and I think you know what I mean. Because also in that card there is a dynamic of very different ages interacting in a not great way. Let's just say that. Might resonate for some, won't be for all of you. Obviously, you don't have to comment if it's you, but that is, for some of you, that's the family secret, right? And then we've got this. So you're all wanting to work on this, but you're all defensive with each other because of what's not being said. Right, so Spirit, I'm gonna crack down on this because we're going on a bit without getting to a point. What is this secret? What is this truth that needs to come out in order for this to be either a more peaceful time or a properly disbanded time? Whatever it is that kind of should. Truly helpful to my new setup. You make me feeling scattered. Oh, excuse me, arse. Right. Oh, a storm of noises. Okay, so we've got a Knight of Swords, which isn't a surprise with how the cards came out, and a Two of Swords. I need something more, guys. What is this secret thing? King of Cups. Somebody's not letting on that because you guys couldn't decide as a unit, they made the decision for you. I don't think this is the head honcho figure that we talked about. I think this is somebody else who's made a decision for the group, but they're kind of keeping schnum about it. And that's affecting the welfare of the whole. But why would it not? Just as I'd sat back into Gumba head position, here we go again. Right. I'm taking all of these because you're scattering everywhere. There we go. Okay, so we've got a Five of Wands. Again, more conflict, but I think it's specific to this. We've got a Ten of Pentacles reversed. This is starting to make sense. And we've got a Five of Cups. Right. Going back to what I was saying about are you a couple or something like that. If you're not, God, again, Gumba, giant thighs, tiny head. Sorry, this self is super weird to do. There's something here about a divorce, a separation, a parting of ways. Two of you that used to be estranged and aren't now, or are forced to not be estranged because you're all sat around the table. Again, if this is group work and it's not a family reading, because I did say friends and family, this is two of you have fallen out and not had the heart to tell the others, possibly because it would break their hearts because of this Three of Swords that we had. And with the Six of Cups being a nostalgia thing as well, that makes me think that whoever these people are, and this might be you, it might just be someone else involved, there's a legacy behind them. So if this is a group of friends, maybe the two most kind of long-standing figures in that friendship group have now split off. If this is a family, it's like a couple or siblings that have known each other the longest or something like that. It might even be a mix of friends and family. I'm thinking of one particular person's situation, hi if you're watching, where it's kind of, there's a couple within a unit that also extend to being family and you all meet up as whatever that is, right? What would have become a chosen family, but this couple are now in separation and yet you're going through the motions of like, let's go round for dinner with mom or pop or whatever. And it's a farce. It's a farce. And that's why everyone's defensive, because the people who know that you, I'm saying you guys, so it might be you, but the people who know that these separated people are no longer in contact or are no longer together or are not on good terms, they know and they have to kind of only say it when you guys are ready to say it. So they're mad. Then the people who have to be around each other when they wouldn't normally choose to be around each other, they're mad for obvious reasons. And then this head honcho figure who's like, everyone together, this is amazing, let's do this every week or every day or whatever it is. they're mad because they're also picking up on a vibe and they don't know why. And bless them, I think they're internalising that as being like, my family isn't working, my group isn't working, I'm not a good enough leader in some way. And then you guys are picking back up on that tension. And for some of you, this is a family member. So you're like, oh, we're making them feel worse. It's just a big old mess. It's no wonder that you've been like, right, what do you reckon? We just don't meet up next week. But I don't think it's been taken seriously that you said that or responded in that way. Because it's almost too tangled now. The thing that needs to happen is not that you guys stop meeting and just avoid it in that sense. It's that this truth comes out. It's that you all have a discussion when you're all present about what the real deal is here and why it's so uncomfortable and why everyone's defensive. Because I think if it is you guys that have separated off from each other and you don't tell you don't tell the person trying to get the group together, trying to get the band back together, right? I think they're going to, like I say, internalise it. And also, I think the resentment of the rest of this unit, be it family or friends, is going to bubble. And that's going to mean that people start to take sides in whatever this was. So that's what you need to be careful of. There's a 3 of Cups in reverse, so yes, a fallout, right? And an 8 of Swords in reverse. Which is an interesting one because that should mean that this is easy to sort of... It should imply that this is a relatively easy situation to escape once the intellectualization of it has explored a little further or once, again, the truth is spoken. But then with the 3 of Cups in reverse, it's like things aren't going to be the same. And with that dynamic, I always think with the 3 reversed of like, people back-talking each other, chatting shit about each other. Excuse my language, but it's that vibe that's getting me. You know, it's like, it's very schoolyard, but into adulthood, you know, clearly, because you're here and I'm assuming you're over 18. There's that thing of, I think it could get messy the longer this goes on. And I think maybe you suggested that we don't continue doing things in quite the same way. We change the format, we change the location, we don't do this quite as often, something like that, as your way of trying to make sure that this doesn't get messier. But my dude, the only way is the truth at this point. So how can we tell the truth in a way that's sort of simple and beneficial to all? I'd like 3 on this, please. And you? Which one? Right. I'm chucking then. So I'm sick of it. So we got an Emperor. If you are a masculine or masculine identified, it's you needs to take charge with this. I'm sorry. Don't shoot the messenger. 4 of Wands reversed. There is a structure of stability again, which has been cancelled. The fact that we got the 10 of Pentacles reversed earlier makes me think of like the end of a legacy, the end of a marriage, the end of a promise of a next generation. All these things that suggest a couple breaking up and a parent of one of you or a grandparent of one of you being very disappointed by what that implies without knowing the full story. Because I think this is the undercurrent vibe I'm getting, is that this was the correct decision. It's just not been well received by everyone around you because they weren't informed at every stage. It was almost like it was decided that these people would go off or it was like they fell out behind the scenes, or, you know, this estrangement has gone on without telling anyone else because we didn't want to worry Granny or whatever it was. It's like this thing has gone on in secret, and that's kind of the problem. But that was done to spare somebody else. And the sort of end product of it is that there's almost too much to explain now because it's been kept in the dark for such a long time. But really, it was kind of unavoidable, because if you'd have said at the time that it was all happening, and if you'd kept everybody at table up to date, right, it would have been a lot of emotional labour. Again, that King of Cups from the beginning. And it would have been sort of adding to the burden of whatever this conflict already was in a way that was unnecessary to everybody involved. So I get the decision not to tell, but then there's also this like flip side of it, which is that it's gone on for so long without trying to break it down into all these different incidences that made it a reasonable thing to do, that in trying to put that picture together to really quickly explain to someone or to multiple people what's actually been going on, it's like you can't be concise or articulate about it anymore. It's not something you can condense in that kind of a way. But I think I'm breaking it to you that you're going to need to. I think that's my job today. I'm really sorry. Yeah, Queen of Swords reversed. There is the fear underlying all of this is a kind of snobbishness, a kind of elitism. It's not that people aren't allowed to go their separate ways or go about things in a different fashion or in a non-traditional way for some of you. It's that there is at least one person in this huddle that is going to be affected by this in a way where they could get snippy with other people, particularly around things like how a family should be, religious perspectives on group dynamics, how the world should work, those kinds of things. It's giving me Hierophant, even though that's not present. So it's like this, it's partly that it's too big a problem to break into a smaller thing, and partly that there's at least one person present who is not current enough in their understanding of how these dynamics work to be able to really hear you when you talk about this properly. And I think that what I'm being told in your advice of how to handle this is that that is an unavoidable truth. It's not going to lend stability, it's not going to turn that Four of Wands upright to speak about this in the language of the person that you don't want to disappoint with it. Instead, I think you need to backtrack. I think you need to tell the whole story. I think you need to talk about how everybody there seems to be affected by it or feel tense about it, and how it makes you tense too. But the reason that none of you were speaking up about anything was kind of a protection thing. Now, for those of you in the minority for whom the Six of Cups thing earlier hit home, obviously you won't be able to discuss absolutely everything with full transparency if there is an abusive dynamic or an inappropriate dynamic going on within, say, a familial unit. But what you could do is talk about, in a very sort of generic way, how there are certain members of the group who don't feel that they want to be a part of the group anymore, or who don't feel that the group has as great a contribution to their adult lives as was promised in some ways. And sorry, a fly caught my attention just then, and it's making me like, I don't really get flies in the house, and when I do, it's because there's iffiness, toxicity, there's a bit of narky energy going on. And now the blue tit's coming again. There is somebody in this group who is the opposite of that, right? You've got a fly and you've got a blue tit. So as well as kind of keeping me going through this, you know, the awkwardness of this reading of giving you bad news, the blue tit is here to offset everything. I don't think it's like the class clown person or the sort of, it's not offsetting it in like a humour or timing kind of a way. It's that there's somebody there who understands the situation so completely, even silently, that making regular eye contact with them while you explain it will help you to explain it, even if you're met with the opinion of somebody who might be a bit toxic, the fly, right? I think it's important that you express compassionately that this situation can't continue to the extent that you're able with such a complex situation. But I also think that, like, it's all right to let other people chip in as well, because I think what's going to happen in the group is that nobody's comfortable with this, right? We've had a 5 of wands, we've had a 7 of wands, we've had loads of conflict cards, right? Everybody's bickering, everybody's tense. I think if you start to speak, it will be a relief to some of the people there, and they will start to chip in. But another difficult thing that you have to do, my dude, is kind of let them. Because with this Emperor energy being present as well, you know, however you identify, you are carrying this burden of kind of leadership with this, and that's why you're the one to see this reading. So I do feel that in that kind of a sense, it's on you to take the reins and to make sure that it's done properly. What the Emperor sometimes falls into is having too much control. My control and surrender reading may be relevant if you hit back in the recesses of the channel. Blue tit again. You are being helped with this. You're being helped by spirit as well as whoever it is there that you trust. But I think with the Emperor, like, don't fall to the Emperor temptation of like, I'm the only one who can explain this properly, so I'm going to take the whole thing and not let anyone speak. Because I think in that sense, you might rile the group up the wrong way. But then the sort of flip of that is that it is your responsibility, because you are, for some reason, either the person most knowledgeable about the ins and outs of everybody's situation here, or the person who can be the most compassionately articulate regarding the subject at hand. So I hope that was useful to you. I know it wasn't a pleasant reading to hear, but I think you're on the money with the idea that this can't continue in its current state. But I think an exasperated reaction of, well, let's just not fucking meet up then, isn't really working. And you need to go into it in more depth, hopefully with the tools that I may have given you. Fingers crossed. If it did resonate, please hit like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. Share me with whoever you know that wants tarot. This is a very small channel. At the moment that I'm filming this, I have less than 30 subscribers. I would like that to skyrocket because this is my day job. So do what you need to do, right? Please, thank you. And yeah, please subscribe if you want to see more Utopia content, if you want a reading a day on all kinds of stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Hi, I'm back with a tiny addendum to anyone who did care about the blue tit on the balcony. And he's back again! Our kid's back! I wish I could film it, I really do. Yeah, it's going to be difficult too, not least because of privacy reasons, but he came back just as I clicked off your reading, as in turn the camera off, and stayed there for a good 5 minutes, just staring. Now that's really weird because every time that they're on that little ledge, whether it's a blue tit, a crow, I feed them all. I'm hoping for a red kite soon, fingers crossed. But every time one of them's on there and it sees me move in my flat, they get spooked and they fly away. So the fact that this guy has come and not only enjoyed the food that I've left out, but just sat and watched us for ages, is a real indication to me that if you're still watching this and you didn't click off, Spirit is absolutely helping with this situation in a way that is highly unusual. And you might even want to look up the spirit animal meaning of blue tits. I don't really know their folkloric stuff. I can leave a link down below if I do find anything. But that was a really strange encounter for me because they are so skittish around here. And I've never known one just sit and stare at me and like cock its head and be like, yo. So delightful. And if that's wasted your time, I'm sorry, but I'm just so happy right now. Catch you later.